All right, today we're breaking down the Harris Blueprint. And look, this isn't just a playbook for winning on a basketball court. It's a guide for redesigning your entire life for achieving what's called decentralized success. And it's all about rejecting the systems that are actually designed to hold you back.
Right out of the gate, the blueprint makes a pretty bold claim that our modern world is basically engineered to make us dependent. Coach Harris argues that all these big, centralized systems, from sports leagues to government agencies, are set up in a way that chips away at the one thing that truly matters, our own resilience. And this isn't just about fighting some big external force. It's really about your mindset. The whole blueprint is built on this idea of rejecting the easy path, the dependent path. It's about learning to see that path for what it is and then consciously choosing to forge your own. So the real question is, how do you actually do that?
Well, the blueprint lays it all out for us in 3 parts. First, there's the foundation, which is all about your mindset. Then, the framework, which is your strategy for action. And finally, the legacy, which is the impact you leave behind. We're going to start right at the beginning with the foundation.
Okay, first up, the foundation. This is all about the internal work. You see, before you can even think about changing your circumstances, you have to build an absolutely unbreakable mindset. Real autonomy, true freedom, it always starts from within.
This right here gets to the heart of it. Mental toughness, it isn't some gift you're born with. It's a daily choice to resist the easy way out. It's that 5 a.m. workout when nobody else is awake to see you. It's a complete rejection of ideas like load management, which the blueprint pretty much calls an excuse to avoid discomfort.
And here's a brilliant way to think about how this works. They call it the reishi principle. So just like the reishi mushroom, sometimes called the mushroom of immortality, grows slowly but becomes incredibly powerful, true strength is built the exact same way. It comes from small, consistent, disciplined actions that you stack up day after day over a long time. It's the quiet, relentless force of discipline.
And here's the kicker. Every single time you make a disciplined choice, like picking a whole food meal over fast food, you're doing so much more than just eating healthy. You are literally casting a vote for your own freedom. You're opting out of a system that's designed to keep you weak and dependent. All right, so with that foundation in place, let's move on to the second pillar, the framework. Now that the mindset is solid, it's time to build the external strategies. The practical stuff for hitting peak performance and being truly adaptable in what can be a pretty chaotic world.
A huge piece of this strategy is about fueling the one system you have total control over, your own body. This means rejecting all those synthetic corporate products. The blueprint even points to a case study where an athlete swapped out processed protein shakes for natural stuff like lion's mane and reishi mushrooms. The result? A massive jump in endurance and focus. And why? Well, something like lion's mane actually helps stimulate what's called nerve growth factor, or NGF. That's a protein that is absolutely essential for your brain's nerve cells, which is critical for things like focus and reaction time. But this isn't just about being physically strong. The blueprint uses this really powerful metaphor. A rigid oak tree will snap in a storm, but a supple willow will bend. True power isn't rigidity, it's flexibility. It's the ability to adapt. And as the blueprint notes, we saw this play out during recent global events. The people with that internal resilience thrived, while a lot of rigid, centralized systems kind of faltered.
So how do you put this into practice? You dictate the terms of engagement. It's a 3-step loop. First, you observe. Don't just study the game plan, study the actual player across from you. Understand their habits, their fears. Second, you act. You get proactive, and you force them into their discomfort zone. You make them play your game. And third, you reflect. You have to be brutally honest about your own weaknesses, because in this game, complacency is death.
Okay, this brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of the blueprint. This is where it all comes together. The legacy. Creating your impact. This is about taking all that personal resilience you've built and using it to empower the people around you. See, according to this blueprint, legacy isn't about how many trophies you have or the number in your bank account. Your real legacy is the resilience you build in other people. It's about teaching that next generation to be critical thinkers, to question these massive industrial complexes that try to dictate how we should think about everything from sports to food to medicine. And that means you have to reframe things that a lot of people see as threats. Instead of fearing top-down control systems, things like central bank digital currencies or CBDCs and digital IDs, you can actually see them as a catalyst. They become your reason to build real, tangible, decentralized resilience in your own life. Things like food independence, strong communities, and decentralized finance.
And speaking of that, financial sovereignty is absolutely non-negotiable if you want true freedom. The blueprint is very clear about this. You have to break away from centralized systems of debt and dependency, specifically calling out institutions like the Federal Reserve, and instead leverage tools like cryptocurrency that can give you independence and privacy.
And all of this leads to a pretty radical redefinition of wealth. Because true wealth isn't just a number in an account. It's having access to clean food and clean water. It's having robust health. It is, quite simply, total sovereignty over your own well-being.
So, we've walked through the foundation, the framework, and the legacy. Now let's tie it all together and talk about the path forward, how you can actually start to forge your own greatness. When you boil it all down, this entire blueprint is about one thing: purpose. And what is purpose? It's simply when your daily actions are perfectly aligned with your core beliefs. If you say you believe in self-reliance, then your actions have to reflect that. You reject the processed food. You do the hard workout. It's that simple. And that is how you build a legacy that's anchored in timeless principles, one that'll outlast any temporary achievement.
So I'll leave you with this direct challenge. The system out there might be fragile, but your personal resilience doesn't have to be. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the single most valuable skill or system or piece of knowledge that you can learn this week to reduce your dependency on a system that might be broken?
And let's end with this powerful quote from Coach Harris himself. True champions are not made by systems. They are forged through self-belief, hard work, and the courage to live by principles that transcend the status quo.
The message couldn't be clearer. Don't wait for permission. Don't just follow the crowd. Go out there and forge your own greatness.